Make sure you hit record.
Welcome to SpotOn Chat. I'm Rebecca Monet with Zorakle Profiles. Zorakle Profiles provides profiling tools to franchisors and to franchise brokers that helps facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchise concept. With me today is the founder and president of the fastest growing franchise specializing in crime scene cleanup, Laura Spaulding. Laura, welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again.
So my last question that I ask everyone is kind of an off-the-wall question. It's a what if or if only question. So if you looked at your life either in the past or looking forward, do you have any if onlys or what ifs? And if so, can you share?
You know, I have a lot of what ifs, and I think most people, you can sit here and what if everything to death, but you know, that's not productive. But the thing that stands out to me the most is because it's constantly in front of me. And back in 2005, when I started my company, and I tried to get business loans and, you know, any type of capital investment to be able to grow, I was shut down at every avenue that I tried. Every door that I knocked on was a no, no, no. And I always look back and say, where would I be now if I had gotten that financial investment? And, you know, I venture to say that much further than I am now, because, you know, I had the drive, I had the ambition, I had the know-how, but I didn't have the financial capital. Mm-hmm. So I grew much slower than I would have had I received that. And, you know, I bring that up because it's constantly in my face. You know, now all of a sudden I get contacted by private equity groups and all these different people that want to invest and want to buy the company and all this. And I'm thinking, where the hell were you 15 years ago? You know, now the fruits of my labor are good enough for you. But back then, you know, I was, you know, they would laugh at me, so to speak. So I always think about that. And then, you know, every time you pick up a business magazine, it's constantly like, you know, these Silicon Valley kids had this great idea and just decided to get a meeting with venture capital. And all of a sudden they got $10 million. And I'm thinking, I couldn't even get $100,000. And these guys are getting $10 million and they're like 18 years old. So it's definitely not been an easy road. And I don't foresee it ever being easy for me. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's why I am where I am and I'm on the pace that I'm supposed to be on. But it's certainly something that I always look at and say, what if I would have gotten a capital investment 15 years ago? Where would I be today?
It's so true. I have a similar kind of background. I mean, it certainly tests your commitment and your passion. It builds resilience and tenacity and grit and initiative, and it, you know, has you leaning towards working more hours than you want to.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there were positives and negatives to you. And it's so funny that you mentioned, where were these, you know, private investors, you know, 16 years ago? I asked the same thing. And recently my granddaughter, who's 22, she's been running a dance school since she's 15. And she wanted to grow it into something bigger where she did dance competitions state by state. And anyway, she came and asked if I could help her get a loan to start this business. I said, you're 22 years old. You have very little track record. You have very little credit. You know, it's just not going to happen, right? I mean, I can open some doors because I have financial people in the world of franchising that can help to a small degree, but it's not going to be large. And she goes, well, then how do all these other business people build big businesses if no one believes them in enough to invest in them? I said, that's a really good question. Because you're right. It's all kinds of investors will show up when you've gotten to a certain place, but in the time while you're struggling getting there, there's usually not, unless it's a friend or a family member or a stroke.
Yeah, and it's all about connections too. And you know, at the time, and even now today, I don't have rich friends. I don't have connections that, you know, apparently these 18-year-old Silicon Valley people able to get that meeting. But it's ironic because all of a sudden, you know, there's an article about my company in the Wall Street Journal, and they're beating down my door.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, and I always say the same thing. Where the hell were you 15 years ago? You know, now that my blood, sweat, and tears has just been, you know, spent, you know, now you want to jump on board and get a little piece of the pie.
Right.
So, you know, I'm glad, I'm grateful that I have the ability to be picky at this point. If you know, still haven't taken a financial investment, and I don't have any plans to do so, but you know, you never know. One day we might be at that pivotal moment where we just want to be able to hit it out of the park quickly. Mm-hmm. And we might pull the trigger at that moment. But I'll tell you, everybody that watches, you know, Shark Tank or reads, you know, Inc. magazine or something, it's all there. And I'm just shaking my head every time I see it. I'm like, how the hell did they do it?
Right, right. I don't know either, girl. I was in a similar situation, and every couple of months get offers to buy my company. I'm like, what? You're going to take it away from me after all of this?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So that's a wonderful what if.
Yes.
What if? Where would my company have gone if I had taken an investment or had that opportunity? So fortunately, your franchisees don't have that learning curve that you had. And so their ramp up period is definitely much quicker than yours. So it makes it a little easier for them. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your what if. And I think it's one that many of us share.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'll talk to you soon, Laura.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.